Recently, I got a message from an amazing guy who was wondering that how do I combine being a designer, being a student, and being a YouTuber, all at the age of 21. I mean, he was wondering, and I knew that I had to make this video because this is something that I've gotten a couple of times from different persons who are wondering that how am I able to hold all of these different areas of my life together while managing to actually do well to an extent in all of it. And I'm going to share all of that in this
Right.
video, right? How am I able to effectively combine all of these different areas of my life together as a 21-year-old, combining being a full-time student in a Nigerian university with being a graphic designer who has been designing over the past 4 years, with also being a YouTuber creating content. In fact, currently I manage two channels. My main channel that has grown to over 14,000 subscribers, and my other channel which has grown to I think over 200 subscribers, where I share some behind the scenes about my life vlogs and all of that. I am Inioluwa Mobolorunduro. Some people might know me as Iniski, some other persons might know me as the creative magician, but then my name is Inioluwa Mobolorunduro. I have been designing for the past 4 years, and I'm a 21-year-old engineering student in a Nigerian university. I turned 21 last month. Today is August 2nd, and I turned 21 last month, July 19. Right. And being an engineering student, I'm even currently in an interesting phase in my engineering journey in school. We are currently doing SWEP, Student Workshop Experience Program, or Student Work Experience Program, which is an experience that just introduces us to the practical aspects of engineering, the foundational practical aspect of engineering, right? I created few vlogs around this already, documenting the SWEP journey. You can just check out this channel or check out my second channel. To make it easy for you, just check the description box of this video. I'm going to help you link it in case you're interested in watching that video. Now back to what this video is about, which is how I'm able to combine all of these different areas of my life together without failing in one or without failing in the three. This is something I'm still learning. So I do not come as someone who has figured life out and figure out how to effectively manage all of these different areas of my life together. No, no at all. Because I keep learning, right? Engineering is a whole lot on its own. And in fact, there are many things that I am not prepared for that just come my way just because I'm an engineering student. There are a couple of expectations I do not have, but then they just come, and sometimes they could just spoil my plan. So there are so many things I do not look forward to. And in fact, this is not just about engineering. If you are going to be honest, it's about life. There are so many things that you don't expect from life that just suddenly comes, and it changes some of your plan, and now you have to adjust some of your plan to fit into the new way of life that you bumped into without expecting, right? For example, this is also applicable to even being a designer. There are designers without job. There was a time I do not have jobs, right? And I mean, this is something that still happens sometimes, right? But currently I work, right? I work with different clients, and you cannot compare the quality of life, well, not the quality of life now, but you cannot compare the amount of time I had when I had no job, when I had no deadlines that I had to meet, with now that I have a lot of deadlines to meet, right? Then I would have more time that I can use to focus on these other areas of my life, maybe focusing on my channel or focusing on school more, because then I had no client that was expecting a project. Then I had no deadline that I had to meet. But now I have like three clients that I have to meet individual deadline with no excuse, right? And now at the same time too, I have 12 that I'm currently doing in school. as at this time. After 12, school will resume back into session, and then I will resume another level of engineering that is going to be a whole lot too, right? Then aside that too, I mean, I also have my channel, right? In fact, I think it wasn't last month, but this year I've not really been consistent on my channel, right? I think there was a time where I didn't post for 30 days, and that is because school, I was writing exam in school, and I didn't even have enough time to actually put out content on my channel, even though that was not an excuse, because there are other things I could have done. There are other ways I could have made that happen, right? Meanwhile, I'm going to get to that, right? I'm checking my time, and I do not want to talk too much, but one thing that's really helped me is prioritizing. But first, I wanted to make you understand that this is not something that I can say I've handled. This is something that I keep learning, and that is one thing you need to understand when it comes to combining all of these different areas of your life. I do not think you would be a master at doing that. In fact, if you would even be a master at doing that, it means you would have been able to do that consistently. You would have made a lot of mistakes, and then you just keep learning and keep learning and keep learning and keep learning, right? Because all of these three areas of my life, now just talking from my own experience now, are three major areas: engineering, YouTube, and there are people that do YouTube full time. There are people that do school full time. There are people that all they do is design full time. So you need to imagine how it feels like combining all of these three different areas that people can do individually and be fine. Combining them together as a 21-year-old, that's crazy, right? But one thing that has really helped me is prioritizing, knowing that this time is for this, knowing that this time is for that, knowing that this time is for this one. At the same time, too, I have also, or I'm currently, I've been doing this, and I'm currently working on how to even make it better, which is infusing all of these different areas of my life together, like finding a way to make them intersect, right? So that one do not have to overlap the other, so that one do not have to fight the other. And that is one of the reasons why I actually even got a tab, right? So that I could work in between the free periods I will have during the day, right? So that my nights will not be packed with, okay, work, 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 and work. Let me give you an overview of my current routine in school, right? I mean, currently that we are doing SWEP, just SWEP. So usually we go for SWEP from around 7 a.m., from around 9 a.m., right? Now 9 a.m. to around um I think till around 2 p.m. Sometimes 2 p.m. Sometimes we close way before 2 p.m. But usually, let's just say 2 to 3 p.m. Now, after then, if I have projects that I have to meet, which I almost always have, right? I mean, this is project for clients, design for clients, and all of that. All I do most times is that right from the sweep with my element with my gown still on, with my shoes still on. Usually when I'm going to school, I pack my tab, and then my laptop, my PC would be in my bag. And so immediately after a swap period for that day, I just go to a class, right? A class I usually use, and then I plug my stuffs in, and then I start working. That is what I do usually. Or some other times I come to the hostel first, change my change my clothes and all of that, then pack my stuffs, go back to school and go and work. Now, why am I going back to school? It's simply because there are no usually lights in my hostel. This is the hostel right now, and I'm using an external light because there's no light currently in the room. I'm using my LED light to film this video, right? So I have to go to school because there's usually always light in school, except when rain falls or sometimes just very rare occasion, right? But usually there's usually light in school. There's usually light in school, and so I just go to school and then I work, right? That's usually my routine, right? But then there are also some times where maybe in between the free period I have, I just quickly work on little project, or like make some little adjustments for my clients. Maybe they ask for little adjustment and all of that. And sometimes, let me just talk about this. Sometimes during the night I have to work into the midnight, sometimes around 1, sometimes around 2, just to at least cover the project to a reasonable point or finish up the project, right? And that would lead me to another important thing that you need to take note of. See, there are a lot of things I can share around this, right? That I could keep talking and talking and talking, right? But I think I'm just going to also tag another video in the description box where I also expound on this a lot more. But then, lastly, one thing you need to understand is that I actually understand is I'm currently at a point in my life where this sacrifice is important, right? So I am not looking forward to achieving balance in all of these different areas because that is impossible. I will just keep chasing after the wind if I'm trying to chase balance. So the goal for me is not for me to achieve balance in combining all of these different areas of my life. That is not the goal for me. The goal for me is being able to combine them effectively, that in the grand scheme of things, none of them suffers. But then I'm also aware that I would need to make some sacrifices at different point in time if I would be able to effectively combine all of these different areas together. And when I talk about sacrifice, what do I mean? An example was what I spoke about earlier, where sometimes I walk into around 1 a.m., into around 2 a.m. just to finish up a project I'm on. I'm sacrificing my sleep, and because usually I have to go sleep around 2 a.m. and then I have to be up around 7 a.m. again to prepare for the swap for that day or prepare for the lecture for that day, whatever the case may be. Do you know what this means? What this means is that I'm literally sacrificing my time. I mean, the time I would use to sleep, sacrificing it so that I could work on an area of my life that I feel is important to me. Another way that this sacrifice could play out is in the sense of, okay, let me give an example. I think in April or so, a lecture was going on, and in between the lecture I needed to go out because I had just gotten a client that wanted to have an interview with me at the time immediately, and this was an international client on Upwork. So, and this was a job I applied for, like I sent proposal for. So what that means is that there's competition. If I did not respond on time, there is every possibility that the client will go on to the next available and suitable person for that job. And so immediately I told my guy that was beside me in class that I need to go out now for an interview. And so I went out to the back of the outside the class. I passed through the back door and I went to do that interview with the client. And the client was so was so impressed by my portfolio, impressed by because I had to tell him that I was actually in class and all of that. I had to be honest with him, and I mean, it was so he was so what's the word now, he was so understanding, right? He actually understood with the fact that okay, school and all of that, and we had to also discuss about if he can work with school and all of that, and that is just that about that. The point is that I needed to sacrifice that few minutes that I was in class, go out, because the reason why I could do that was because I wasn't even really gaining much from that class. I wasn't really listening in that class. So I mean, for me, the class was not very, very important as at that time, right? So I needed to go out and just take it, because there's no point missing out from what is being taught in class and also missing out on a job opportunity that could potentially change my life or change the quality of my life, at least for an extended period of time or for that period of time, right? I mean, getting a job and all of that, and I mean, I'm even currently not active on my social media platform. So, like, that is the only way I can really get clients right now. And I mean, I don't want to lose out on that opportunity. So, I needed to grab it at that particular point in time. If it was a class that I could not go out from, I would also find another alternative and find out to sort that out. But at that point in time, I needed to make that sacrifice. So, sacrifice could play out in different ways. It could actually play out in different ways, but you just have to be smart with it, and you need to understand the fact that sacrifice is part of the game. This is how I put it for my WhatsApp community when I was still active on WhatsApp before my social media break. I told them when I was talking around this subject, I said the balance you are looking for is locked up in the sacrifices you have to make. So for you that is maybe chasing balance, wow, the light is gone. So let me just wrap this up. For you that is chasing balance, understand the fact that the balance you are looking for, they are locked up in the sacrifices that you have to make. And in another video, I actually shared more around this subject. If I remember correctly, I'm going to link it in the description box of this video or in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know if this video helps you in the comment section. I'm going to see you in the next one.